So I got this whole idea for this when I heard about NaNoWriMo, which is National Write a Novel in a Month. And I went, I really want to do that. That's always been something on my list. And at the moment I wasn't working, which the minute I committed to doing this, because most of my work is freelance, I had tons of jobs at that point, which then I wound up writing a lot of this on my phone, and it just did not connect well, and things. So it took me like 2.5 years to revise this after I wrote the first draft, because there was just so much trying to fix and match up what I had written. I chose 1910 because it was a really interesting time period. It was before that whole Downton Abbey era that we kind of think of as Edwardian. There was electricity and telephones and telegraphs, and there wasn't radio yet, but it was getting close to being there. And women were not yet liberated, but they mentioned in there was suffragettes walking around and marching. And I always have enjoyed that time period. I always loved the clothes. They were really, there was a lot going on right in that time, and a lot was happening in England at that time. Ever since I was little, nobody could ever pronounce my last name correctly. I get every version with letters that aren't even in there, and it drove me nuts. Now Baker, it's hard to mispronounce Baker. And it's actually my great-grandfather's last name, so there is some family connection there. Kind of fell into that. My mother reads a lot of cozy mysteries, and she was like, hey, you might enjoy this. Come on over and come read this stuff. And so I started reading all that, and I'm like, I like it, but a lot of it's contemporary, and the contemporary is just not really my thing unless it's contemporary fantasy, which is... But, so I said, how about historical? And that's a whole genre of itself. And, but I've always been interested in mysteries. I wrote the first mystery story when I was in 5th grade, actually. It was called The Code Club, if I remember correctly, and it was all about codes and crossword puzzles, and it was like a birthday surprise for that they were trying to solve these codes so that they could get the present. And it was a picture book, and it was for a contest in school, which I won first place in, and someday we'll fix it up and fix the illustrations and actually publish that. I really loved researching the train itself. I mean, I would say clothing, but the train was fun to research because I got to learn all these weird things. Like the Flying Scotsman, I said, has been around for about 150 years, from London to Scotland. Eventually became about 8 hours, which would have been around when Thea was on it. And so it was neat to see how all these things happened. Well, the first version, this version, was actually just a notebook paper sketch that I pulled onto the computer and tried to fix it up in Photoshop, and as you can see, she's very rigid. She's not very friendly looking. For this version, I took several pictures as reference from different clothing and fashion plates from that time period, and I tried to give her a slimmer silhouette so that she matched more of what that 1910 look was. Thank you, everybody, and make sure you check out my page and subscribe to my newsletter if you liked it and want to hear more. And check out Writers Atelier, who put this whole thing on. Thanks for watching.